Welcome back, our Chief Operating Officer, Kim Congleton, who's here to talk to us about elements of the Power Platform. Today, we're going to be focusing in on the Power Apps. Kim, when we talk about Power Apps and the concept of the citizen developer, what is it that we're actually talking about? That's a new concept, isn't it?
It is. And with Power Apps, it's really, when Microsoft came out with this, the concept is that you don't have to know code to actually build an application. And it's true. There are some concepts that you kind of have to learn to understand it, but pretty much you're walking through some wizards and there's some examples you can use to kind of get started. But it's really going to allow you to extend functionality or develop something that solves a particular business problem really pretty easily. I've seen a lot of our customers have somebody in IT or have somebody maybe in one of the other places in the organization, like it might be somebody in accounting that's also good at kind of IT, or even somebody in the warehouse that maybe is good at, a little bit more technical. They don't have to be a developer, though. They don't have to be a trained developer to do this. You're actually kind of, it's pretty easy to build it. I mean, I think the first app that I actually built, not going to lie, it's an app to track all the different tequilas that I've tried. But basically, it took me maybe 15, 20 minutes to build out something that was ready to use, and stored the list on SharePoint and gave me something I could use on my phone to actually input what tequila I was trying and whether I liked it or I didn't like it. I think I used the would I have it again or would I not have it again. So,
Yeah.
it's gives you a lot of power to build something that before you needed a developer to build.
Yep. No, that's really cool. So I think that one of the things that made this possible was the change that Microsoft had with locking down the code, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's kind of that replacement. It's something that's maybe a little bit smaller that you need to fill that, BC doesn't quite fill it. Maybe you were doing it on paper before, and now I want to build something to kind of record that information and store it somewhere. So it's kind of, think of it as it's a little problem. But you're maybe not ready for an ISV.
Right.
It's not like a full-blown add-on problem or ISV problem. It's more something that's just a little thing that's annoying that I can build a solution for and save people time.
Right.
And maybe, meet some sort of requirement that you have.
Right. So I kind of think of these like micro solutions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
When we compare this against the apps that we find out on AppSource, where do Power Apps fall when we compare those against the things that we see in AppSource? What's the difference?
I mean, some of them are, similar to what's out on AppSource, because some of those will be some micro solutions as well. But for me, I kind of like to look at it as it's something I could build internally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's another tool in my toolkit that I can build solutions for us internally and not have to rely on somebody else to do that for me.
Yep. Very cool. So when Microsoft publishes their updates then, right, which we have coming out every month, how are those different Power Apps protected when that comes out? What happens there?
Well, because you're extending that functionality, right? I mean, there's always the chance that Microsoft could do something that would break it. But for the most part, they're not supposed to. And think of it this way. For a Power App, maybe I'm not doing that much to change the lockdown base code, right? I'm just extending it. Maybe I'm writing into a field or things like that. So, it's really kind of really hard for that to break. Microsoft would have to change the structure of a table.
Yeah.
Or do away with the field, which is not impossible. That could happen. So you might have to extend something else. But for the most part, your app should continue to work.
Yep. Very good. So as we were putting together the episode, we came up with a few examples to share with folks.
Yep.
Can you talk about some of those examples so that people get a better idea of what they could do with this?
Yeah, so there's one that we always see a lot of times in the warehouse, right? A lot of times, especially in like a food warehouse, the trucks come in that are delivering product, and you have to do a quick truck inspection. So, I have to look in the truck, see if it smells, make sure the temperature is, whatever temperature it should be, and maybe I'm recording the seal from the truck and all of that type of stuff, the bill of lading and all of that. And that's a very easy Power App to develop to give somebody on a handheld where they can quickly go through all those things. And a lot of times we see people storing it on paper. So now I can actually create a Power App where I'm recording that and I'm writing it to a SharePoint list or to a common data source. Or if I really want to, I could extend something in BC and write it to the table there. But it's just as easy to store it on SharePoint. And then if you need to ever provide that to auditors, it's really easy to go in and have a form or a report that you could print out with all that information in. So it's kind of one of those little micro solutions that, I would say, man, 90% of the warehouses that I go into are storing it on paper.
Yeah.
And half the time they can't read somebody's writing. Somebody wrote the temperature like, this is supposed to say like 32 degrees or something. It says 34 or 38 or something. I don't know. They're like, why does this say 93? Like, it's like, I'm not sure what that says, but, So that's a really common one that I could see or really common use I could see for that.
Yeah, and great that you were able to take something that was fully manual and put that into the system where it can be accessible in a much easier way. Yeah, very good. You had talked about another one related to customer management. Can you share with us about that one?
Yeah, so there's one where we've talked maybe in the other session that we did on Power BI, I touched a little bit on this, but to kind of expand on it, one of the things that you can do is in Power BI, you can actually embed a Power App. And one of the uses or one of the ways that we've done this before is you can actually have a Power BI report that shows like all of the information related to a customer's credit history, right? So how many open sales orders do I have right now? Am I over my credit limit? Because everybody knows at BC, the little thing pops up and says they're over your credit limit. Everybody clicks OK and goes ahead and creates the order. I mean, nobody wants to be sales prevention. But at some point, if they're not paying on time, then you might want to put them on hold. Well, this kind of allows you to have that report that's kind of the credit analysis dashboard. And then within that, we can actually embed a Power App that will, when you click on it, put somebody on hold in BC. Or we could do it the other way around as well. So, maybe they got their act together, they sent in a big check. I'm looking at their credit analysis. Okay, they're current. I think we're good. We'll take them off hold. So it's kind of a cool thing that this whole ecosystem can work together. And it really is pretty powerful when you're looking at the reporting to be able to say, okay, nope, I want to put this person on hold. So it's one of those, I've always said I hate building reports where you don't make decisions off of. Now we can actually build a report you can make a decision off of and actually execute the decision. So it's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I know that there is even an extended discussion about that project, about how you can carry that forward to the invoice level instead of at the customer level. So there was some really great tools that came out of that.
Yeah, no. And I mean, it's I want to find come up with some problem we can solve using Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI all together. So that would be the cool thing, is if we could actually come up with something for that. So
yeah, fantastic. All right, we'll get the gears rolling on that. All right. Well, those are some great examples of what you can do with Power Apps. I'm very excited to see all the different things that we'll be developing over the next little while to help our customers. I know that the team has been taking some notes and making some lists on things that would be good candidates for that, and that's part of our projects that we've been working on to help our customers. So good stuff. Any last things that you want to share with folks about Power Apps in general?
If you haven't learned about Power Apps or looked at Power Apps, make sure you go out, especially if you're using BC and you are storing stuff in paper. I think that's a natural place to start. especially in the warehouse, or if you have any quality requirements, like if you do food. So for like any quality inspections during the process, it's a great way to get rid of paper in your warehouse.
Yep. Fantastic. All right, Kim. Well, thank you very much for being here. On our next episode, we're going to talk about where you can start. As you're considering these kind of projects for your company, where's the best place to get started and how can you get moving with these solutions for your company? Thanks for being here, Kim. I'm Carrie Peters. Thank you for tuning in to the Get Your New View podcast. For more episodes like this on YouTube, click the subscribe button and ring the bell to ensure that you get notified whenever new content comes out. If you're listening to the audio podcast, please share an honest review on Apple Podcasts. If you are ready to rethink today for tomorrow, look for the link below and contact us to speak with our expert team. You won't find the level of no-nonsense real-world experience we offer anywhere else, and we're here to put that experience to work for you.